Heck yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it's from Marshall, Minnesota.
Whoa!
Brewed by
Wait.
Brew
We don't give away
Brothers.
free ads here.
Hey, maybe you can get a sponsor.
That's, yes. Obviously, this is, I'm going to stop making jokes about dead CEOs so that I can get corporate sponsorship on this show.
Well, who doesn't want a local brewery supporting them? This is a
Oh, totally.
Southwest Minnesota.
Okay.
A lovely hop session.
What's
Number 3.
the city it's from? Does it say the city?
Marshall.
Marshall. Okay, so you were thinking in your head where it is. Because are you from Minnesota?
I am. No, I was looking at the map.
Oh,
The little star.
that's
East and west are hard for me.
fantastic.
So-
That comes in from one of our linear listeners, Chris Dean. Welcome to Movie Baiters with the Farx brothers. I'm Kyle.
I'm Kirk.
I waited till Kirk put his mic down
Thanks,
so that I
yeah.
could screw with him.
Yeah.
I
cut
don't.
out the pauses anyway, so I don't have to worry about that.
And you'll edit this part out potentially too.
Aw, you just gotta leave that kind of stuff in. I like when people in podcasts say they're gonna edit something out and then they don't, so then you just hear them talking about the things that they won't edit.
You listen to podcasts?
I listen to so many podcasts.
That's fantastic.
They're like nonstop. Like I listen to so many podcasts.
Do you have ADD?
Probably ADHD and dyslexia and probably autism.
Okay, yeah, you're supposed to say ADHD. I know that from.
There is a difference.
Wait, is there?
I think so.
What is the difference?
I don't know. I just know there is.
We're
That age?
we're on with Alex Rumsey, actress and do we say writer producer now because you've written and produced something?
I kind of half wrote it, but
What does that mean?
well, Still Life didn't write. Joel and I wrote it together with Vanessa's help, and then Dogfather was a collaboration with several people. I suppose I have another one that I'm writing. So, but writing isn't my main thing. Acting is my main thing. So let's stick with that.
Sure. Someone Kirk and I are writing with currently. She likes to say she's an actress first, or does she say actor or actress? Mary, I'm sorry if you hear this.
She said actress.
Okay, so
Yeah.
well, wait, are you an actress or an actor?
I usually say actor.
Okay, is there a reason?
I don't think it needs to be a gendered term.
Yeah.
I don't know, like doctor isn't gendered.
Doctoress. I say bartenderess.
Bartenderess.
Yeah, I think they like that.
I'm sure
All
everyone-
of them.
I'm sure
exclusive-
everyone likes being gender specified on their titles. Absolutely.
What we need is something for men that would be like gendering this thing for men. Maybe.
Yes.
I don't have a
Like
hard
what, though?
answer.
Oh,
What would it be?
Yeah, like what?
Well, waitress is that's waiter, I suppose.
Sure. Just add ER to the end. Bartender, it's already there. Doctor, it's already there.
I feel like there was like midwife. That'd be hard to
Mid dude.
Mid dude.
I mean,
Is it mid groom?
mid groom.
Because midwife.
Mid husband.
Mid-groom.
It'd be probably mid-husband, I suppose, but that
yeah.
doesn't flow nearly
Right,
as well.
not mid groom.
Do they call it animal wifery when women do it? Because when men get animals to breed, they call it, or when
Animal husbandry?
Yeah, I think when anyone does it, it's called animal husbandry. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I bet someone who would know is a great author whose name I'm drawing a blank now. She wrote a book called Word Slut. It's all about
Word slut? I heard
the
that
history of like words and how we use them and how language progresses through time. And she does a lot of that sort of like talking around gendered terms for things. It's fascinating. Great book.
Are you an audiobook person or are you a reader?
99.9% audiobooks.
That's fantastic. That's why having a podcast is great because people I know and see at events when after I've started having a drink or two, maybe, but never. You don't learn these things, especially in these atmospheres. So you've got Dogfather going, and you had Still Life. We had Tristan on the show, and he was in the midst of making it with you. Mm-hmm. What is it about?
The pitch that I've been telling people is it's a downtrodden detective who's trying to bring down a corrupt mobster. It's about as succinct as I can make it.
And who came to who? Did you go to Tristan or did he come to you?
Tristan, I was looking for crew, and Tristan offered himself to be AD, which I desperately needed. But then as we got into the process, he was feeling like some of the things I was asking him to help me with were more like co-directing things. So then he's like, would you like to be co-directors instead? And I was like, yeah, this is kind of my first time directing, so yeah, let's go for it. So that's how that kind of came about.
What were some of those things?
I've been told apparently that the way I was going about trying to put this together, I've decided that I don't really like directing all that much because it's really stressful. But I think it's more the producing stuff that I don't really like.
Oh yeah.
And then my friend Peyton was telling me that if I had an AD and a producer, then I could just direct, and that would be more fun. But Tristan was helping with like completing the script and like finding other crew and making a shot list and all that kind of stuff. I feel like I have a pretty good creative vision, but I don't have as much technical know-how. So Tristan was helping take on that end of things.
Who's your DP?
Adam Olson.
Oh yeah, I knew that.
Which is amazing. He was fantastic.
I met him recently at a festival but it was late night. I'm not going to say where. It wasn't. I think it was a bar. I think it was the Rathskeller in Duluth. That's not a bad place to be. Kirk's looking at me like,
No, it's just a very spendy bar. Speakeasy. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, speakeasies. I love speakeasies.
It's not even. Well, I guess it's sort of a speakeasy because you have to.
That's how they define it on the website. It's
I know.
speakeasy. Yeah.
I was at a Gaylord resort. It's literally what they're called. There's a bunch of them all over the country, and I had to go to a speakeasy, and it had like signs up for it. It's like, this is.
Oh, that's not the point. Did the one in Duluth, was that a like secret entrance kind of?
Yeah, kind of. It
situation?
was kind of like around the corner.
Yeah,
It's in the back a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just gonna put them on blast. So you go to Wasabi, you walk down the block. You've been to Duluth?
Yes.
Yes, you were there. I listened to you in Duluth reading a script that I wrote when I was going to Florida with my wife for her birthday.
Yes. That was really fun. That was a fun script.
Thanks. I was totally fishing for compliments. That's my modus operandi, right, Kirk?
Good.
Yeah. Sure. I'm not gonna throw you under the bus anymore. Yeah.
Oh, who are you playing in your detective movie that's about taking down the mob?
I am a newscaster. I just have a little cameo sort of role, but I was directing. So my part wasn't as big for this one.
Yeah. So what interests you in directing?
Mostly, well, not that I directed still life, but creating movies is kind of the idea of like, if the work isn't coming to you, create your own work. So The Dogfather is something that Joy Ford and Joel Dameyer and Anthony Brown and Noah Levine and a few of us were like, a couple summers ago, like, oh, we should make a short film together. And we're like, okay, great. And then we started like spitballing ideas. And originally it was going to be for like Scream It Off Screen. And then it grew into this much larger project. And then we lost Anthony from the project. And then it just kind of, I really wanted it to happen. So I just like finally like pushed it along and here we are. So it sounded like a fun project to do with friends.
And that's in post now, huh?
Yes.
Excellent. Who's editing?
Vanessa.
Very good. Very, very good. Still Life, that did really well at Z-Fest last year. I know from your acceptance speech, you and Joel, who your partner, is that fair to say? Okay. Partner, I was about to say, well, should we clarify business partner, but also you guys are
Romantic
dating?
partner?
Yeah, I felt uncomfortable saying romantic partner, even though we're going to talk about A Knight's Tale, which is about around the time when the concept of more romantic love came about. Is that something that you were? Oh, I went and did a lot of like Googling on like, okay, when did the
13th
concept?
century?
I guess the first concept of it was like the 12th century, if I remember. It's in the notes. I'll look
How
it up
did
later.
they pinpoint that?
That's a great
Yeah,
question.
Well, the concept of love has been around for a long time, like into the dark times before, like this is after the Crusades and before the Renaissance. We think of, the Renaissance, people writing poetry, creating art, and the concept of falling in love with somebody was more around in specifically in the United States in like the 18th century when you could rely on the mail. Like, oh, I can write letters to people, and there was more of an emphasis on loving someone versus, I mean, let's be honest, women have only not been property for like the past 150 years or a little bit more than that, because I'm going a little bit before they got the right to vote, So, again, I think that's wrong, but it's interesting to go, oh, how are two unequal parties supposed to form a partnership? Going back to you saying Joel is your partner.
Very beautiful ADD roundabout way of getting back to the original point. Well done.
Don't compliment me on this podcast. It's going to
Wow.
when
Not
I
allowed
listen.
to compliment them? Is this-
Yeah.
What?
We were fishing for them earlier, and now
Yeah,
you
no.
don't want
You couldn't
them?
tell that was
It can't
sarcastic.
be unsolicited, apparently. Only it has to be controlled in his environment.
See, that's a good burn. See, do burns. Burns are hilarious. That'll get you prepared for the debate portion. Also, I don't know if we told you, this part comes third in what people will hear.
Great.
Cool. I just
I
like
know.
telling people.
I think it was going perfect. And you didn't have to,
To
break the
criticize
illusion,
myself.
and
Yeah. Thank
it's
you.
gonna come out when it comes out.
It comes. We're gonna take a picture in front of the Christmas tree, though, just so people know when we're recording this. It's right, the small.
Oh,
note
I
here.
was totally been looking past it the whole time.
We're
I'm like,
Charlie
where is
Brown.
it?
Well, it's hard to tell the Christmas tree and I apart because we're both so vivacious and colorful.
Decorated to the teeth in holiday decor.
In still life, I'm aware from your accepted speech with your partner, Joel, both romantic and business in this context, that you came up with it while drinking wine in the bathtub. Do you want do you want to... Oh, I've been married for a better part of a decade. I don't think I've ever drank wine in the tub with my wife. I brought it up to her.
You should. It's nice.
Oh, sure. I mean, most of the time we're tired. Like, I can't even get her to go in the sauna with me. So it's like...
Well, we don't have kids either, so that makes a big difference.
So I highly encourage them, but, when you're ready. Because if you're not, it sucks. It probably sucks when you are ready. So... Do you guys usually drink wine in your tub?
Well, no, because my tub is extraordinarily small, and unfortunately, you know how like very small bathtubs, well, any bathtub has that like drainage little port thingy on it? Because it was a very small tub and we're two grown humans, like we had it like as full as possible. It was kind of like going up and under that drain, which normally isn't a problem, except for if you don't use it enough, the like caulking kind of dries out and cracks. And so my downstairs neighbor the next day was like, I had some like water dripping into my tub from your ceiling. And I was like, oh no. So now I'll probably never take a bath in there again. So, but it was, I don't know. I think it just sounded cozy and nice. We had gone to an bed and breakfast like last winter, and it had like a legit like hot tub kind of thing. That was really nice, and I was just kind of reminiscing with how nice that was, and listening to beautiful sad music, and probably had like a candle up and wine, and then we're like, oh my gosh, how much of an indie movie are we right now? This is like so quintessential. And then we're kind of spitballing about like, oh, but if it was a movie, then one of us would have to die, and then like, basically came up with a whole concept while we were just being like poor starving artists. And we're like, okay, well the whole thing has to like circle around this tub idea then. And so then there was the idea of like that last shot of Joel in the bathtub by himself and it being so sad, and that's how it came together.
I really like that. So. You haven't seen it?
No, I haven't seen it.
Well,
I wasn't here last year. I was in Georgia.
It's going to be at the Twin Cities Film Fest, the shorts showcase on January 23rd.
January 23rd, all right.
January 23rd.
Mark it in my calendar.
Were you in Twin Cities Film Fest this year?
No.
Or was that the consolation? Because we didn't even get consolation this year. We got...
What do you mean consolation?
Like, I never know with Twin Cities if you have to submit to these individual things. And we're going to have someone from Twin Cities on pretty soon. So I'll ask, but...
Yeah, not for the main chunk that happened like a month ago or whatever, 2 months, whenever that was. But apparently this is like I was talking to Vanessa and I was like looking through all the other things I'd submitted still life to. And then I was like, wait, I didn't submit to this thing that I just got accepted to, but I guess it's like if you're kind of on the short list for that other round, then this is kind of like carryover, I guess. That's my impression.
Got it.
Yeah.
A movie you're in has been competing with one of the movies we made with you, Surrogate. I call it Toilet Baby, and I'm going to keep doing that.
As you should.
Thank you. Take that, Kirk.
I have nothing against it. I just think it's, I don't know, that's polite.
That's true. That's very true.
It's acceptable, yeah.
Also, definitely makes it feel like a much different genre than what it is.
It'll make it easier. It makes it easier to talk about in contrast to Puppet King. And lately, the Puppet King has been doing better than Surrogate. And I wonder if it's because one is like I've shown both to my one of my children, and she was with her uncle, another person who worked on it, and myself at the time, and we were all laughing through the parts that
the Surrogate one,
the toilet baby part, like we're laughing so it's not scary, but I have had the experience and been told about the experience of people being like terrified in a movie theater watching it.
It has some like good, really solid effects, and the blood is so effective. I think it looks great, but it could be campy for sure.
Everyone's individual tastes are everyone's individual tastes. It's just interesting to me that like a Surrogate didn't get into this, but Puppet King did. And I try not to like think about that, but you can't not think about that. Yeah,
I don't understand the film festival circuit thing at all.
I say that to you because you've been submitting on Film Freeway, I assume. What has that been like?
Pretty non-eventful. I haven't got into many things yet, but I don't know. It's laid out pretty well, and it was very overwhelming at first. I was like, which ones should I submit to, and how much should I spend on all this stuff? And Vanessa had really good recommendations to try and play towards the strengths of the film, primarily that it was directed and produced by women. So like look for women's festivals or something like that. And then local is always nice, so a lot of Minnesota ones. Anything that you'd want to attend. So I submitted to one in like London and Ireland because I thought that'd be really cool. Didn't get it, but that's okay. And then Sundance popped up with a very reasonable entry fee for like I think it was like $50 or something.
Wow, Sundance.
And I was like, I mean, the chances are probably none, but why not go for it?
Take the chance. Yeah.
Didn't get accepted, just in case you're curious. But it just kind of throwing it out there and see what sticks. So
people have to go through that. I think I know some people that got into Sundance this year, and in the episodic category, and I know that they had probably submitted lots of other things up until that point.
Sure.
The example I like to give to people, since we have had the Z-Fest experience together and we're now peers, you're more than an actor, excuse me. You're more than just a performer because you've written and produced. Not that just doing acting is, but it doesn't make sense in our market necessarily unless your goal is just like commercial work, I think.
Sure, being a multi-hyphenate is helpful.
Yes, thank you. No compliments, but agree with me up until the debate part. I don't remember where I was going. Oh, I was going to say that losing at Z-Fest a couple of times teaches you, like, it doesn't matter. Like, it totally does. And especially when you win, too, it also doesn't matter. I mean, it's nice, and that's helpful.
Yeah.
The movie you were in for us has done the best of all the movies we've made. So,
hey, that's exciting.
Exactly. But... like, then when you talk to people who make things and then they go through the experience of, I submitted all these places and, I think that's really helpful. I got to ask Vanessa to be on the show. I thought of that while you were telling me, because I would have given you the same advice. Always feel free to ask Kirk, not me. I'm too self-conscious to...
For advice or for what? Yeah.
Yeah, on making movies and stuff. You know more than I do.
I know more on sound. I don't know about directing or producing.
What's one piece of advice you have for all of us newbie filmmakers?
Make sure the script is locked in, for sure, before you start shooting.
Helpful.
Yeah.
Wait, have you had to change the script on either Still Life or on Dogfather?
Well, Still Life didn't have a script, so I mean, it
did
have a script, but no dialogue. So
yeah. No, it's still a script, just for the record.
True, that's fair. Yeah, it was a pretty loose script, but no, Dogfather was pretty set. It was no changing dialogue. But did you have things that you had to change scripts on like halfway through the shoot?
No, but I've been on sets where the script kind of changed a little bit, and it would have been nice to just keep it the same. I think the writer had a vision, and he certainly didn't want to change it. And with the whole Midwestern thing, like he or she doesn't want to change it, but they're gonna go along with it and just that's all right. You can change my vision if you want to. We're already here. We can't waste any more time, so we're just gonna make it.
Jeez, I'm gonna ask you for the specific story. You probably told me off mic on that one. Did you have more advice?
No, I mean I could sparse it throughout the episode. Yeah.
Great, just throw in every nugget. Just be like, don't do that. Do that.
Call him one of Kirk's Nuggets as you do.
Kirk's Nuggets?
Yeah, Kirk's Nuggets.
Not Kirk's Corner.
Okay, Kirk's
Double K,
Kirk's Nugget Corner.
Let's do Nuggets.
I don't know. Someone said
You
Nugget.
can spell Nuggets with a K, like Knuggets.
Oh, Knuggets. Yeah.
Kirk's Nuggets of wisdom on filmmaking.
I think that's great.
Alex,
Knuggets. Yeah.
You're is it correct to say you're a model as well? Like you work in commercial work as a model. What is the crossover between acting in narrative and doing commercial modeling? And do you see them as similar, different,
I think they're surprisingly similar. And I just have been trying to get into voiceover work too by taking a lovely class. But all of it is all about being real and authentic in whatever you're doing. So commercials or modeling and like still photography, it's just rather than having to act out a whole scene, you're just still acting, but you still have to like be real in the moment. Whether you're like, I did a Indian commercial that was just stills, and I mean, I'm still like, I'm a biker now. Like what would it feel like to feel like really good in the clothing I'm wearing? Like it doesn't have to be as like emotional or anything, but it's still, you still have to like have good emotion when the camera sees what you're thinking about. So whenever I'm a photographer as well, whenever I photograph people, especially people who hate being photographed, usually what I tell them is to like just have something in your head about like, if you're wanting to look happy, think about your new puppy that you just got. If you're wanting to be like kind of a little bit of sad, wistful, imagine you're a Disney princess who's like longing out the window, like, and just like playing a scene in your brain makes your eyes like have some depth behind it. So it's all the same. And then acting commercially is a little bit of that extended, and then acting in film is that multiplied by a bunch, or theater, You
mentioned you were a photographer. When did you get into acting, and were you in another career before it?
Before acting?
Yes.
Yes. I started acting when I was small at the church I attended with just like a kids choir, local theater stuff. And then I did some community theater at Lyric Arts when I was growing up, and then stopped that around the end of high school, and then took a really long break from it, and then moved to Virginia. My life fell apart, came back to Minnesota. The story that I tell everyone is Joy Ford was like really pursuing commercial acting and film acting and stuff. And I just kept looking at her being like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. I wish I could do that. And then just wishing someone would like discover me in the mall or something like that.
Yeah.
Obviously that doesn't usually happen for most people.
You shouldn't trust those people who discover people in malls.
Usually not. But you know, once in a million you have that person who was like discovered or whatever.
Sure.
But Joy just actually was like working really hard at it, doing all the classes, doing all the like the student short films and stuff. And then once I realized that, I was like, oh, well, maybe I should try. So I did. But before that, I was like a PCA and I cleaned houses. And then I started doing real estate photography in Virginia, came back to Minnesota, started doing that again, which is still my main job now is photography.
Real estate photography? All right. Because they constantly need homes to be shown, and
Yep.
that's reliable. Okay.
Yeah, it's actually a really good market because you don't have to shoot evenings usually. You don't usually do weekends. It's very nice.
Oh, are there photographers? Oh, yeah. So like wedding photographers
Yeah.
always have to be working on weekends. Have you ever done a wedding?
Oh yeah, lots of weddings. I got a little burnt out and jaded towards weddings after I got divorced myself, so it made me a little cynical for a while. I can do them now, but they're like, I don't know, real estate is so nice because I can sometimes go a whole day without really running into that many people, and it's kind of cut and dry, allows me a lot of flexibility to do acting, so it's a really nice mix.
I knew you as a photographer of some kind because I met you. I was working, I'd lent one of my cameras in the past to Joy Ford's older brother, Matthew Daniel Ford, and he made a movie, I think, called Merry Christmas, Don't You Know? And
Merry Christmas, by the way.
Thank you. Were you in it?
I was on set. I was visiting from Virginia and could be on set for like the day, and they're so funny. I love those guys.
Paulo and Matthew,
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember at the screening, which would have been 6 years ago.
That's technically where we met then, at the screening.
Yeah.
Oh, funny. Okay.
Yes, and my wife and I had been dating a year. It was before we were married. That's where I learned about calimocho, where you put wine in Coca-Cola, which is something the Spaniards do.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Gross. Yeah.
It does. Like a red or a white?
Good.
A red with
Coke?
with Coca-Cola. They call it calimocho, and the Spanish do it. I think Europe can get things wrong too, but
Maybe I'm going to Spain in March. I'll have to try it out.
well, I mean, you can do it here.
No, I can only do it in Spain.
Ask them when you get there if that's a crazy thing, or I haven't Googled it. I'm not going to. Wait, so what part of Minnesota are you from?
I grew up in East Bethel.
Where
which
is that?
If you take Highway 65 north and you go past like Blaine, then you get to Ham Lake, and then you get to East Bethel.
Oh, okay. Ham
Anoka
Lake is
or-
one I know for whatever reason.
Now then, kind of that far out.
Now
right?
then is a little more to the east, I think, but more in that area, yeah.
You're in the cities now, though, right? Okay, thank God. I moved
Wow.
from a small rural area when I was adopted away as part of the lore of the Farx brothers, and moved to a city. And I can't stand the idea of suburbs. Can't stand the idea of rural areas anymore. I'm a city cat.
Being in the city has a level of romance that I dreamed of when I was a teenager that I think is living up to the hype, honestly.
Good.
Yeah, it's fun.
What is it about what specifically for you?
I had the idea of having like a little one-bedroom studio flat in the city where I could like walk to my local cafe and stuff like that, and be an actor and stuff. So I'm pretty well living it.
Wait, do you walk to your cafe usually? You don't make coffee at home?
Well, the one-bedroom studio I had was above the Spy House, so that was
Oh man.
it was pretty like idyllic. But I hardly ever went there.
Oh, okay, cool. No free ads for Spy House. Take that, Spy House. Always open. Contact us anytime. Why are you into medieval times stuff?
Because I'm a nerd.
Because you're a nerd. I think it's a very specific type of nerd. Are you a fantasy person as well?
Yeah. I like fantasy books. I really loved Robin Hood lore and like King Arthur lore growing up, and now I play a lot of Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh,
and
nice.
You do. What do you have to do that like over many hours and
years.
you've been on campaigns that have lasted years?
Yep.
Wow, I thought only went like months. Not
It can go
years,
months.
yeah.
It can be a one-off if you want it to be. But the DM I have right now, we're like a really long story, and will probably be like 4 or 5 years, which is the longest I've ever done in a whole campaign. I feel like a lot of people will do like 1 or 2 years or something if they were doing long form, but it's awesome.
How does one where does one like get it's like drugs, right? You find someone outside of school who's
A dealer,
like,
yes.
a dealer, thank you. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know drugs very well, so
Neither do I. I actually don't, but
I actually don't as well. You can read about.
But now we're
them.
just incriminating. Now people are gonna be like, even though.
Yeah,
it's
the people talking about Dungeons and
Wink,
Dragons
wink.
are really the drugs.
totally fair.
So wait, when did Dungeons and Dragons start for you? Was this a high school thing or like an adult thing?
Adult. After I moved back to Minnesota, started making new friends. Actually, photographing a wedding where I met the person who is the DM of our game. He's been into it since high school for long time.
Nerd.
Oh yeah, super nerd. He introduced it to me and I was a little uncertain. I grew up in a very like conservative Christian household, and so Dungeons and Dragons, I was in that exact pocket of Dungeons and Dragons as satanic idea. So I was a little like, what is this? It's forbidden or something. But it's the tagline I like to tell people is it's like if you were reading the best fantasy book you've ever read, but you and your best friends are the main characters and you're telling it together. And so it's just, especially if you're playing with a DM who's really into character backstory kind of stuff and more about the role play than it is, combat's fun and everything, but it's really about the character development and the friends you make along the way. A really great exercise for acting too, because it's just improv. And like pretending to be a character, no wrong choices. It's just, I make this person and however I play them is right. So it's one of my favorite like acting exercises that I do all the time.
You see it as an acting exercise. That's fantastic.
Oh, 1,000%. That's just fun.
I run into so many people who play Dungeons and Dragons through making movies, and it makes sense because they're adjacent. Kirk, have you ever played?
Well, I haven't met anybody else besides Alex who plays D&D, who's an actor. Yeah.
I can be an actress too. It's interchangeable.
Have you
You
met
guys should
other
try it.
people who are
Yeah,
D&D players?
I named some, but I don't feel like it right now. You also go to like, what's the thing at the end of the year? It's not Medieval Times.
Oh, the Renaissance
The
Festival?
Renaissance Festival. These things seem all of the same stew to me. Are they not, or are they?
Oh, there's a huge Venn diagram of like nerds and Renaissance people and like improv people, and like I just saw a recent Venn diagram that was like kink communities. There's some heavy crossover in all these things.
Well, the role play, I guess you could do in improv in your kink community, as I'm told, BDSM or whatever. I do have a friend who's in the kink community, and he tells me things. I won't say who it is. You've met him.
People all over the internet are Googling, who does Kirk and Kyle know?
I don't think we're friends. I don't think you're Facebook friends with him. So, and I don't think he would have a problem with me saying out loud that he is, and I haven't said who it is. So it's totally fine. I've never gone to the Renaissance Fair, and every time people describe it to me, it's like you have to park far away, walk, and then you're outside, and you wear costumes, and you can't use utensils when you eat.
You can use utensils. It's the state fair, but in costume.
Okay.
Like a lot of food, a lot of shops, games that you can play, and it's mostly just most of the people who really love it, you go because it's a fun place to dress up, so you could wear your sweet costumes and stuff, and walk around and drink mead and be like, huzzah, to the king and queen as they walk by. It's not like LARPing.
Okay.
Where like people are actually like acting out things.
Yeah.
It's much closer to the state fair.
That's helpful. That's a great distinction. It's not LARPing. It is going to the state fair. I also hate the state fair. I associate fairs very negatively in my head from being from a rural area. This is completely classist, relates into the topic we're going to start debating. I felt bad for the lower socioeconomic folks who were at the county fair, which I know is different than a state fair, but I grew up in a rural area, and it was like, this place sucks. Everything's cheap, chintzy, the rides don't last very long, and like for some people, woo, and that's not how I get my
That didn't make
kicks.
you want to go to a better version of the fair? A state fair is probably better than a county fair, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
The state fair, I feel like, is hot and crowded and very expensive, and all you do is eat food, which is not dissimilar to the Renaissance Festival. It is crowded and hot depending on the time of year you go, and can be very crowded, but there's like shows that are going around all the time that are free to watch, and the food is fun, and it's I feel like the camaraderie of everyone being in costume, you like compliment people, and you like can go fake sword fight someone. I don't know.
So it's a little bit like Comic-Con then too.
Probably closer. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Comic-Con meets the state fair, but for fantasy nerds. And this is not me trying to criticize any of these things. I'm truly trying to come from a place of understanding, because there's so many people that are like super into these things who I'm adjacent to, who make things, and it's like, I don't get it, bro. Or
Well, if you don't enjoy dressing up, then you probably won't enjoy it very much.
I would be sitting in boxer shorts right now if not for company being over.
Probably not your venue then. Would you
Yeah.
go to the Renaissance
Yeah,
Festival?
I would. Sounds like a good time.
Yeah, it is.
I will go with you when you go.
Yeah, you want to go?
Because I
wear
want to be there with
costumes?
you. Otherwise, it's, no. We can bring the kids too. They'll probably, the kids are at this thing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's all ages.
you can bring your pets too.
Pets? You can't bring your pets to the state fair, can you? But you can bring pets. What's the biggest pet you've seen at the state fair, or the Renaissance Festival?
I think someone has walked around with like a boa constrictor on their neck,
Whoa.
but a lot of dogs mostly.
Chris, great to have you. He's gonna cut it there. It'll be fine.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, no, this is good.